Looks like Thomas is not using the desktop client. Is that true, Thomas?
That's me.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Safari always makes me make vectors go to the desktop client for reasons unknown.
All right.
They used to.
Everything seems to be working in 3 minutes, so
That's a record.
we should celebrate a new record yesterday.
Cancel the meeting. Nothing good can happen from here on out.
It's a record in the history of meetings that the first 15 minutes aren't wasted setting up the audiovisual cameras.
All right. So, Thomas, I think we're ready.
Are we? Okay, good.
People are used to us waltzing in 10 to 15 minutes late, catching the beginning.
It'll be over.
Okay, well, are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is planning for Goldeneye Sprint 2. We seem to have 76 issues worth about 346 points. So good. We'll see you in 3 weeks. Well, good job, everybody, preparing for this. That's good. So, I mean, we're just going to sweep through it platform by platform and at least just keep an eye on maybe some overloaded, at least individual areas. So as it stands right now, it looks like the platform is fairly heavily loaded, no, sorry, I'm looking at the backlog. So it looks like there we have only about 3 points for the script compatible with the old and new.
Yeah, that's me. Well, sorry, this is Luca. I assign it to Bob, but if he has time, we should look at it together. The reason is that we can still install things on CentOS 6, which unfortunately is one of the most deployed operating system out there in all our deployments, and it's the only one we still miss. So I can show Bob the error. I know also how to fix it manually, so hopefully it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, well, CentOS sucks, but the nice thing is that it should be easy to fix and apply to work with it, and in fact, it works with should work with Fedora and CentOS 7 out of the box. So yeah, I'll check it out. We'll work on it. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thomas, can you make your screen just a little bit bigger?
Or zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in.
Make the text bigger.
There you go. Yep, that's good. Thanks.
Okay. On the core side, so that it looks like we have flow objectives fixed. Unidirectional. Interesting. Is this all right, or do you want me to? Can you still guys read that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so I started to track the points for the performance report response. The work we're doing, so it needs to be made part of the sprint. I also assume that related to this is going to be the work that Joe's going to be doing on resource subsystem, and the other one's for defects. All right. On the northbound side, again, mostly just defects. Okay, so on the southbound, there's a couple of things. I think one of them, right now this is assigned to me, but I really probably don't think I should be the owner here. This should probably be something that should be driven by either Jono or Ali or somebody with maybe more network savvy than I am.
Yeah, I can assign it to someone else. It was still under discussion, so.
Yeah, I volunteered to take care of it when I thought the cure was fairly straightforward, but
yeah, apparently it's not.
Yeah, this may also be a discussion that we need to have with Brian too, because it looks like it will affect the compilers.
So
I don't
Just-
think this is reaching points, by the way. It's probably going to be more like that.
Yeah, probably we should rethink to that. I don't know how much could be. Ali seems that it came out with a sort of solution before. I'm not sure I understood it, but if you look at the task, Ali had more insights on it, I guess. So
Can you just
Okay.
kind of do that better?
I guess we can just discuss it sometime soon. Maybe tomorrow. I get back to the office, but just yeah, maybe we should just. I want to understand the problem because I seem to be missing a piece of this. There is a bug in the flow mod builder because we're doing things to values that can't be done in a 1.0 world. Be careful with, but regardless, it should work.
Yeah. Well, I tried to do an easy fix where I basically did use wildcarding instead of masking, but that still didn't work either. So
Wildcarding is going to open a whole can of worms for in Luxy, so be careful.
No, I know. Yeah.
Because
So I reverted that and abandoned the review. So
okay.
Thomas, just a quick note on this. Then we can take it offline, of course, but because it will require more time to discuss about it. But just to clarify, we are talking, I guess, at this point of two separate issues, right? One is the fact that we should be able, if OpenFlow 1.0, of course, allows it to match on VLAN ID any if. The other thing is that in SDNIP and VPLS, we should be able to make our intents somehow better, and in order to match on a specific VLAN ID and put the treatment at the egress of the intent and not at the ingress. So are two separate issues. I just want to clarify because we went through this discussion before, and I was probably mixing the things together. But we should anyway be able to match on VLAN ID any, right?
Yep, I agreed. Okay. All right. So on the UI side, there we go.
Yeah, Thomas, can you refresh? So I'm going to be focused on basically continuing implementing the server-side topology modeling to support the more complex user interactions with the topology view that we want to do. I also wanted to point out that we've had someone from the community step up to the plate on a couple of small UI items, which we're very pleased to see. So I've thrown these into the sprint also.
Perfect. That's great. Nice.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, on REST and CLI, Jean, do you want to speak to this?
Oh, yes. Currently, with our existing REST API, there is no way to specify a certain OpenFlow extensions. So in this point, I would like to add the ability to specify OpenFlow extensions by using this REST API. So now the underlying subsystem, we already have this kind of support, but there's no such stuff in REST API. So.
Is it already in the Java API? It's just not.
Yeah. It's in the Java API, but we don't have this in supporting the REST API.
Okay, perfect. So I think nothing on security, at least nothing's been planned in that area. On virtualization side, so I still owe the description, basically just like a paper that describes and then sort of rationale as well as the high-level design and objectives for this for the virtualization approach.
Tom, can we schedule can we also have a meeting? I mean, to talk about it. I mean, it's good to.
Sure.
It's certainly good to have it in writing because it's hard to digest it. But I think people will, have questions and want to talk about it. So
yeah, well, we can probably at least unless some topic comes up for TST, you can probably do it tomorrow.
That's good.
Sorry, Wednesday.
Yeah, design review would be excellent.
Yeah.
And I think a lot lots of others would have.
Sure. And it's, yeah, sounds good. Okay. And then related to that, there's work being done by Brian Sankey and Claudine on the subsystem. Okay. On a federation, I think nothing at least explicitly planned, though the work I presume is happening in Italy. Nothing on protocols. Nothing on built-in applications. Okay, do you guys, John or Subin, do you guys want to talk to the QA work?
So there's still a little bit of work still to be done for flow objective in our tests, but that's mostly blocked by that one bug, which is already in the sprint. After that, we are planning to start testing security mode ONOS performance. So creating a Jenkins job to set that up and whatever we need to do in our performance tests to enable that. I'm also planning on working on dynamic clustering HA test case. So I'll probably be working a bit on that. And then move the test that Subin wrote for the end-to-end flow performance, move that into master and get that integrated in our nightly testing. And then there's some IPv6 and some Huawei tests that we're supporting, so mostly code reviews and things like that. And then just kind of general cleanup for our functionality tests and error handling. And then the last item is something that Patrick added. That's probably ONOS developer and QA support of the Ixia Huawei benchmark performance testing. And Patrick talked about that in the sprint review last week. So that's what we had planned.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, on developer tool side, there is, I presume this is you, Bob.
Yeah. So moving towards making ONOS.py usable by people. So right now, seeing an exception, so I'll need help probably in debugging that. Although it shouldn't be hard, no class def found error. So, and then it also depends on some upstream dependencies that need to be merged into Mininet. So I want to do that as well.
Okay, great. And Brian, the work that's being done on bug conversion, do you want to track that here or do you have it somewhere else?
That's in platform.
Did we go through that and I just missed it?
I think so. Oh, you might have to refresh. I dragged in the story.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I missed that. Okay. So clearly it's not going to be 34 points, right? But that was the original scoping of the effort. But okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that we had it in there so that basically, you know, I don't want you to work for free. Okay. So on the deployment side?
Yeah. So I want to move in general all deployments and starting with AM Lite to the latest ONOS version. I want to help Giant testing ONOS with the Corsa devices. So basically testing the applications with the latest work we've done with Corsa. And finally, if we can modify some stuff in the intent framework, install VPLS and SDNIP together at AM Lite.
Yeah. All right.
There's more work and more discussions that will will go on this week engaging with new research networks. So it could be that starting with the Israeli research network. So it could be that more work comes out, but I need to hold on that before planning.
Okay, that sounds fair. So on the community side, I just decided to use this category to track the work that was going to be still required in order to submit necessary collateral for the DSM tutorial that Brian, Ali, and I will be going to in June. Okay, on documentation side, it's a mixture of stuff. Okay, that's fairly self-explanatory. On the infrastructure side.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, just a few things and minor errors that there are in the infrastructure. Plus, Thomas, I want to work with Cubin also for the resource problems that we have. So I guess we will convert a few Proxmox servers, or anyway, we will move some VMs to be either bare metals for the developers or to just have containers to run ONOS instances. So
okay, that's great.
I will add it as well to Jira.
Perfect. That's great. All right, Ping.
This sprint, I will focus on the MCode fabric. So I only put 2 small tasks here. One is to let the React routing to follow the default route. And the second one is to set up a function test case for the React routing. Then other people share the test environment. And the second test case, the code will be put to the test almost. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
So Mark's not here, but I can kind of give an overview
Okay.
of what's happening. So basically, our focus is partly I'm set up for the MEF hackathon, which is Mark's major focus for this sprint. And we're also kind of just doing various bug fixes for the applications for eCord. There were some issues with moving from 1.5 to 1.6, so that's one of the things that we're working on. And also cleaning up our wiki page. So that's kind of my primary thing for the next few days.
Okay.
It's not here. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for us.
All right, thank you. Nothing on segment routing. All right. And I presume the external, okay. Okay, so this is OpenStack support. You guys want to speak to that?
Hi, I can speak for that. For the first one is the last remaining feature for layer 3, and the bottom 3 is for a new feature, gateway load balancer, in which will make the gateway scalable. And the second is from Gian.
The second one is about I plan to support the auto scaling of these ONOS. Now we have dynamic the clustering, and the next step would be auto scale the ONOS cluster by provision the VM in an automatic way. So at the first step of supporting this is to integrate this OpenStack Nova with like ONOS. So I will try to working on this direction.
I see. Okay. Great. Yeah, I presume the Huawei team hasn't done and they're planning yet either. Okay, P4. That's Carmelo.
Yes. Can you refresh?
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a lot of stuff.
I mean, I only removed the last one. So yeah, there's a lot of points, but actually the first task, I left the original 8 points. This is. I mean, the code is already in Garrett. I just need to address a few comments there. In particular, I need to give an example on how to use the new criterion typing scheme. So I will say, yeah, it's a lot of points, but like, it's not very. It doesn't really represent what the reality is. So then I'm gonna work on what I've been completing in the past sprint. So namely the ability for ONOS to install flow rules into the BMV2 soft switch, given a pipeline model. Then I want to create a wiki page about the project I'm working on, so to get some feedback, from the community. Then I would like to add OpenFlow support to the BMV2. So the idea is that right now we're using Thrift APIs only to install flow rules, but there's no way we can get packet ins, packet outs, and shake working for the device. So there's already an agent called P4OIF agent. It's just a matter of like integrating that into the soft switch. Then I would like to explore this particular use case called in-band network telemetry for P4. Here the goal is to do an exercise on how to program a pipeline that is not the usual OpenFlow pipeline, and also add an interesting feature for ONOS, which is the ability to monitor real-time network states such as latency, link utilization, queue occupancy, and so on. And this is a very well-defined project. And then like the last two are minor modifications related to drivers.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. NetConf. I think is the NetConf work suspended, Andrea, for now?
Yeah, right now there is nothing major that I want to put in, and I feel that, like, for example, some of them are related to alarms, and for example, the second one is second to refactoring the whole alarm subsystem, and generally there is not that many stuff to do right now, and it will have to be some refactoring when the Huawei completes the Yang utils, and that will happen in the future. So right now it's on hold.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks. Yang, I think we should probably close this. I'm going to just mark this one as done. Okay, I guess I'll do that some later. Yang utils.
There's like 3 Yangs. There's Yang utils, and Yang.
I know. Yeah. I'm not sure why we could never reuse the old. Anyway, okay, nothing there either apparently. So.
Vinod here. Hello?
Reload?
Yeah, Vinod here. I have created the epic for Yang utils extension. I'm not sure why it's not visible here.
Epic for what? I'm sorry?
Yang utils extension.
Okay. All right, there it is.
So basically, right now we have finished the intra-file linking and intra-file dependencies. So the pending part for the utils is to support the inter-file linking, that is to support import and include.
So do you have any of those? Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, but what I would suggest is that you schedule the work that you intend to do this sprint and just toss it into the sprint. Just drag and drop it. You should be able to do that. Okay, so just the items that you plan to work on.
Okay, currently we intend to work. Okay, you want me to update the stories, right?
Well, it would be. I mean, it would be better if you can do that during the sprint planning rather than later, because if you do it later after the sprint starts, then it, creates kind of a funky burn down chart.
Okay, sure.
So
I will
if you can just take a few items that you plan to do this sprint and just simply drag and drop them onto the existing sprint, that would work best.
Okay, I'll do it right away. So basically, I just cover upon what is the scope that we'll be doing in sprint 2, and then I'll update it in the sprint plan as well.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, in the scope of sprint 2, we intend to support the inter-file linking, that is the import and include support. And apart from this, we are also going to design the Yang framework for NBI and SBI registration, and we'll be implementing the Yang NBI mechanism in sprint 3.
Okay. And okay, yeah, and I have some questions on this, but I can take those offline.
Okay.
All right. And so I can close the yang and yang utils, right?
Yeah,
I'm not sure why is this a separate category, but okay.
Okay. Like you mentioned, we can close yang and yang utils. We'll make sure that the yang util extensions are being planned in the sprint 2 and sprint 3 accordingly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. Okay, nothing on BGP flow spec. Okay, this is the on mine. Okay, there's a lot of points here. Okay, I presume this is
the ISIs SBI we will be working on. So we have written some of the basic framework code which is already available. These are the existing tasks which we need to complete on, which we will check in through the sprint. This is basically similar to the OSPF protocol which we developed, which will interface with the ISIS-based routers to get the topology information. So here we have the tasks listed for the protocol implementation at the southbound layer, which basically does to get the topology information into the ONOS. These are the different tasks which are listed here, which will go under that protocol.
all right. Okay. Nothing on the direct TV use case. Nothing on Giant. Nothing. Okay, PCECC. I'm gonna move these up here actually. Okay, is there somebody to speak to PCECC? Satish or somebody?
Actually, Shashi was supposed to join for BGP flow spec and PCCC. I'll just try and call him. Just give me a couple of minutes. We can continue and ask him.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, we don't necessarily need to. It's actually more interesting for reviews. I mean, if this is the work you guys are planning to do, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily rouse him out of bed or anything, because I know that it's weird time for you guys there. It's middle of the night. Okay, on SFC extension, is there somebody to speak to that?
I think Frank is there. Is Patrick there in the meeting?
Saurav is there. I think he's going to. Okay, so the Saurav is not there. Okay, I think he updated this one's. So we did the in-house reviews. It's regarding this sprints. We believe we'll focus on the couple things. The number one is enhance the service function tuning implementations. I'm not sure what he's updated here. So the functionality is to input the stats. The stats. Where is the stats? Okay, I just find that one. Okay, last evening I just talked to him. So another thing is the testing. It's the testing. Yeah, the first one, and the system testing, service functioning, analyzing the service functioning, service. So for the proxies, I don't think that is a high priority.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna move the POF project next to P4 here. I'm not sure why it got set. Not sure it got reorganized. So nothing.
This is great.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm just looking at the number of story points we've scoped in, and it's 583.
I know. It did not go unnoticed. Yes. So yeah, what we probably need to do, we need to segregate this, right? Obviously. So and Luca, what was the reason for creating a whole epic for this? Shouldn't that just be northbound?
Well, again,
we just seem to be using epics like stories.
Exactly. That's the point, right? It always depends if you consider epic as they should be, or as we use them as categories. So if we consider those categories, sure, let's just put that in a story and put it in northbound. I can do that.
Yeah,
but for me,
can you, because it's like too fine segmented. I mean, we had Yang, now we have 3 different Yangs. We had SFC, we have 3 different SFCs. It should be like, we should have a legacy protocols and dump all of the PCEC, ISIS, BGP, and OSPF, all of that should be all in one bucket. It's really difficult to navigate for
again,
me.
But that's fine, but what you call bucket or the categories are the ones represented above, right? Those in theory should be epic, so things that we do in a release. So I don't know what's the rationale behind, I don't know how people insert in general epics, but for sure it's confusing because I guess everyone has his own interpretation of that. But whatever you guys are more comfortable with, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was cleaned up once upon a time, but it like blew up again. So I mean, I would prefer to contain it again. But it's just, okay, we can deal with that separately. I just noticed this, especially because this is really, really single-faceted thing. So I'm not sure why. Can you blitz that one?
Sure.
So, all right.
Sorry, the other reason is just that it's not just related to northbound. That was the other reason, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I will. If it's comfortable, as long as we have it inside Jira, I'll do it.
Yep. All right. So yes, so we have, so if you were to just zoom out again and just take a look at the story points, we have 100 points worth of, yeah, I mean, 500 points worth and 100 issues. Okay, I understand that this includes planning extended teams, but this, I can predict that only probably about 200 points of this is gonna get done. I'm not sure, we're gonna have to address this because that diminishes the value of this exercise. So I'm not quite sure how to address it, but I think we can have a probably discussion offline. Yep. Anyway, so I'm just going to go and start the sprint. Have the points for the PC? Sorry, was it for the Yang stuff been added yet or not? No. Nope, not yet.
You could start the sprint at the end of the day if you wanted. Give them a chance to fix it.
Yeah, I'll start it. I'll start it later today. I think, yeah, clearly, I don't know, I'm repeating myself, but we need to address this. So, gee, now it has 585 points, or am I missing some? Yeah, 580. What's happening?
Big. Yeah. Right? We've got one that's 30 some odd points. Virtualization is 20 some odd.
But that's, even if you just took those two, that's 50 points, and that's still 535 points, excluding those two stories. And I'm breaking the buck story up into multiple ones now.
Yeah,
because some of it really should be closed.
Right? There's a lot of 8s on here. 8s should be broken down. We really shouldn't see anything that's bigger than 5.
Well, we had 5 limit for a 2-week sprint, right? And we decided 8 was fine for the 3-week sprint.
Oh, is this a 2 or 3-week duration?
3-week.
3-week iteration, yes.
So should we remove?
So, yeah. So I'm not sure when would be a good time. Unfortunately, we all seem to be busy with other stuff, and our plans for spring cleaning went out the window. That's what I was hoping that we would be able to address during spring cleaning, is somehow change the planning to segregate because right now there's very little resemblance to agile, frankly, and I mean, if you limit this to half-hour exercise, which is we're just over half hour, I suppose it still has some value, but we really could do much better than this. If we just separate things into separate scrums and then we still use the same backlog and feed multiple different scrums. Bill, did you say there was an experimental feature in Jira that we could enable and try to run with concurrent sprints?
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yes.
Can we just enable that and then maybe we just try it?
I can't remember because I'm setting up also the core, the Jira, so I can't remember if I enable it in that one or I already did it in this one. Let me check, and in case I'll do it.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, and then we can at least start playing with it, and then for the next sprint we can just see if you can break it apart a little bit more, because this is beginning to slowly use its utility in my view. Okay.
So who would run the other sprints?
I mean, we can still do planning. I just would like to have some more accountability in different buckets at least. And then all this also gives more autonomy and freedom for the external teams to run as they wish. But at least for the core team within ON.Lab, I would like to run a couple of different scrums, just in a much more tighter manner.
Well, do you want to go back?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
You want to go back? You want to go? You're asking about people, taking responsibility for these. You want to go back through these epics and press on them?
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to be counting by hand a lot of these things, so which is fine, I suppose.
Could be what?
What?
Just a lot of the story points and burn down and all of that stuff. You don't get any of the visual feedback you do during the sprint unless you come up with custom ways to slice it and dice it by epics. And if you have the tool that could produce burn down, if you could have Jira produce these things automatically, then it would be much nicer, right? I don't know.
I
mean, part of it is part of this is like small self-contained teams with predictable velocity, predictable makeup, and therefore reasonably consistent velocity. You have big visible chart to motivate, sort of provides motivation. Yeah, I mean, we're losing on a lot of these things in my view. So.
Okay, so I'm kind of lost in what you're suggesting, Thomas. So there was a suggestion made that we go back. I mean, we can look at it by person. We can look at it by epic. I don't care, but
I think then that's not using the tool the right way. The tool has a burn down chart. It provides the story point accounting per sprint. Why not use the tool? Why not set up the tool to do that for us, and then simply use multiple concurrent sprints? It will do the accounting for us on behalf of those sprints, and different teams can look at their own sprint charts and burn down charts, and because when it's all in one big bucket, all the accountability is lost. And yes, we could account for it. I mean, we're accounting it for motivational purposes, not for punitive for any other purposes, right? So the idea here is to use it as a carrot, and right now it completely loses the thing as a carrot.
So go ahead. I was going to say, is the root problem that there are a bunch of unassigned things that have just been dumped into it that we think people won't want to do, or that there's stuff that people have just bitten off more than they can probably chew? Or do we not know, or do we not care? Are you suggesting
well, first of all, the buckets are ginormous, and it's difficult to do, and with the work there is made up from work being done by really what's probably could be close to 8 to 10 teams. And so different teams use the tool differently, and some don't update the tool as they should. And so this basically sort of spoils the game for those that update the team and for those that do look at the burn down chart. And so I don't want to be imposing the working model on external partners. That's certainly not something that I'm interested in, nor that would be fair. They can follow waterfall model as far as I'm concerned, but at least for us, I would like to use agile model, and by doing the planning in a big, huge group like this, without sort of individualized visibility to the individual progress of the individual teams, it's kind of like, why bother?
So Thomas, what do you say?
That's all.
I mean, are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting enabling the multiple concurrent teams in Jira.
And okay, and which teams are we going to? I mean, what's the set of teams?
I suggested there's a paper, I don't have it right in front of me, that I suggested, I think it was last fall, suggested a breakdown. This was before we started planning for Falcon, I believe. So there is some suggested breakdowns for like at least five different teams right now. That would help sort of at least divide some of that work, and will give more autonomy for others. So anyway, I mean, like I said, it has still some value. I just think that we're losing on a lot of value by working as we are.
Okay, so what are we going to do?
I suggested
don't do anything and just leave it for this sprint and then try it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. No, this sprint will continue as is, but I would just like to see if we can enable the concurrent sprints in Jira and just give it a try for next sprint planning. And then and we can play with it, at least experiment with the concurrent sprints, and we can move things around and see how, and we can have a discussion about how to divide the different teams. But
so why not just enable it for this one? Right? We know we can enable it. It's in the.
Well, I guess I'll need to upgrade Jira to the latest version. So possibly it's not a thing of. I mean,
aren't we using the cloud version of Jira?
No.
Huh? No.
We're not.
No.
We have our own.
Why are we not using? Never mind.
Because you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Well, sorry, I didn't understand if it was a question for me, but if it is, I don't know. I mean, it's something that we said we want to have control over our machines. I see benefits to move it to the cloud version. We possibly could, but I don't know. We should take it offline probably, and it's probably a separate discussion. There are pros and cons, but we can talk about it.
Okay, so are you and Thomas around tomorrow?
I'm gonna be there tomorrow. Yeah, I'm driving down tonight, so I'll be in the office tomorrow.
And I'll be there as well.
Okay, well, let's talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
So the solution
that sounds fair.
You guys are going to look at it and see if we could try it out for the sprint. That seems like not a bad idea to at least look at it.
Yeah, sure. We can. My thought was that we would experiment with the current sprint, and if we need to mess up the current sprint and just divide it during the process, then that's fine. It's not going to matter anyway, given our current payload of the sprint. Our burned out chart is not going to look any better than it did last two sprints. So, I think it's perfect for experimentation.
Yeah, I also want to say that, at least from my perspective, I'm part of the problem here, which is that I've taken on like 15 story points, which I think is legit.
No,
but that's kind
this is perfectly legit.
Like it's what I'm going to try to do, even though realistically,
And the thing is, I don't expect every point to be done, right? I mean, I think if you were to achieve somewhere close to 70% of the work that we scheduled, I think we're in great shape. And the thing is, in reality, I mean, we're doing a lot of good work. It's just that it does not necessarily correlate to the planning, so that sort of diminishes the value of this planning exercise. And so all I'm really trying to do is increase the value of this planning exercise. to help us do better prediction as to what can be achieved by looking at the backlog, and to give basically better better visibility to ourselves and to people like Bill or Guru and David, what could potentially be achieved. You know, just by applying sort of rule of thumb by looking at the backlog. It's never gonna be precise, but it's going to. The idea here is to almost like statistically be able to get some faithfulness, and by just looking at the backlog and these fairly vague story point numbers. It's been shown to work.
The fact that last time during last sprint, if I'm not wrong, we arrived like to something like 67 or 70% of work out of scope, which is not bad. It's a kind of a record. So that also matters, right? I mean, going out of scope of like a 10, 20% is something, but 67%, I don't know. It means that the planning was 67% almost useless.
That's my point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think the horse is fairly tender right now, so he beat it to death. So we can meet with Bill tomorrow and take a look at what it will take to enable the sprints, parallel sprints in Jira, and then take it from there. Okay. All right, and I'll start the sprint in a couple of hours just to give the team in India a chance to enter the Yang related stories. All right.
Okay.
I think that's it. So thanks, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.